So this is a follow-up from yesterday's video and sociology and different things like that. So yeah, let's dive into it. I mean, inherently, certain governments are not that bad. Sure, they fuck up, but when you push and they rectify, it does show that they are capable of more change than any other system that operates in this nation. And I'm not on about the council. I'm going to keep those separate for a bit. House of Lords, and then we've got the House of Parliament, which is supposed to be the House of Commons here. I'm not sure this system works very well at all. In fact, it's not that I'm not sure, I am sure that it isn't working. And there's a lot of reasons behind it. Also, socialism, which, if you think about it, is under sociology, that when you give a good environment to people, you get good results. So we see a rise in crime rates like never before, and they are massive. But back in the day, when it was sociology that run the UK, there wasn't much crime. Now, sociology is good. It really is. Not on everything, but on certain objects inside a nation, it works really well. I think councils are past their time of existing, and again, it's so likely to be corrupted. I mean, I've heard a lot of them projecting, and their projection stance was it used to be the EU's fault, you know who you can blame, and now it's you know who you can blame, it's the government. So why are they attacking all of these systems? But yeah, it was first the EU. So I've been through a lot of situations. If you see the last video, this is part 2 to it. That's just brushing the surface. That is not even a deep dive into it. So, because if not, we'd be here for quite a while. Now, these are the same groups that used to blame EU. Then we leave the EU, and now they're blaming the same behavior, but now it's on government. So, to me, that makes me pay attention now. And what am I paying attention to? Well, I'm also paying attention to the fact that why would the council keep blaming everybody else when they're responsible for their behavior? Is that truth to be told? We got to notice things in other nations. They don't have councils. This is a bizarre thing, right? They do not have councils. So if other nations can build a nation up without councils, and therefore you could say they don't have council tax, but in the UK we could look at it in a different way. So if you drop council tax, would it be okay to heighten tax when you look at it that way? Or you bring a social system into the mix, and then every time you pay your rent, every time you pay a bill, every time you pay this, we've got to understand something here. Corporations, right, have bought out our councils. Fact. How do you look at this without evidence being plain in sight? They'll deny it. But remember, actions speak louder than deniability. Deniability should not be about denying something based on your word. You need to be able to back it up. And where they will go and make a load of fake evidence, no, it's the actions. If corporations didn't buy the councils out, then how come mayors are picked by businesses in towns? The ones that don't pay a council tax are the ones that get to pick your mayor. That's just bizarre. It shouldn't have anything to do with businesses, to be honest. It should have everything to do with the people in the community and what they expect to see and who they nominate. And again, I can hold up a mayor, and it can be any type of person. I could hold up an ex-criminal. It wouldn't matter really, would it? You wouldn't know, because if they've nominated it. Another thing is, isn't it businesses that get to pick how we have our Christmas lights in our towns? We don't get to pick that. Yet they soon know your address when you fail to pay council tax, and they'll hold all of your stuff against you. Wow, my hair is definitely something. Maybe I should leave my hat on. But oh well, I'm going with it. Everyone wants to say that social, like, let's say, structures don't work. Well, I think these people want war. That's the thing. I think that they just want war. And that's so that it can further the narrative that social climates don't work. it does work if you get it right. So if you have a social housing that's built by, let's say, centralized government, right? And every time you pay your rent, it pays back into the tax pot. Sure, it might not be 750 quid, but let's say if it was less than that. Not too little so that it's on the verge of being free. No. Let's say if the £780, which is called social housing, which is privatised, it's been privatised. And who privatised it? The council. The council made a decision to start selling things. So, no, and then the council want to control everybody. You're not allowed to move home if you've got children. Since when does a system own your kids and get to tell you whether you are going to stay in a certain area or not? How many corporations, we've lost dentists at the moment, and this should be a very valuable lesson to you all. So if we've lost dentists, private dentists then, if they're such lovely people, why do they charge everybody the same amount regardless of what your income is? Whether you are poor, whether you are middle class, and whether you are rich. It's all the same amount of money, right? But yet when it comes to taxes from the council, well, if you've got a trillionaire, they pay the same council tax. On Band C, and that's it? Why is it not comprehensive? At least with working tax. Isn't it the more you earn, the more tax you pay? The less you earn, the less tax you pay. Doesn't central government create a fair system that's like that? Do you find that fair? I think that's fair. That's a social structure. Council? Well, I don't know if that's a fair structure. And then what? Should the council be running our police services, our magistrates' courts? No, I don't. I think these should be independent. Not independent from the system, they should be paid by the system, because if they fuck up, it gets dropped down. And then it means that a good government, has leverage over these. And why is that important? Honestly, it seems to me that the council are not part of the government. Honestly, it feels like this, and there's lots of discrepancies as to why. I look at the behaviour. How come government's behaviour is different to the council's behaviour? It's very nightmare fuel. How come government MPs go into councils and say we need more dentists, and they're sort of like sitting on the council for this, but nothing happens? So let's do the maths real quickly then. And again, everyone wants you to focus on psychology. It's always psychology is what makes you tick. No, it's not. It's your environment. If you go to space, the environment is going to affect you and affect your psychology. Don't you think? If you lived up a mountain, that environment is going to affect your psychology. If you're living a hard life, you don't think that that's going to affect your psychology versus someone that's living an easy life? Sure, I'm not going to say that they don't have different amounts of worry, because yes, I'm pretty sure they do. But again, have you ever lived rich before to even be able to gain a census on that, to know that for yourself? Do you know that if you got a load of money, whether you would become a better person or worry less? No, you don't know that. And again, councils love to destroy small businesses. It's interesting, really. That's very interesting to me. So if you live in a council house and you want to have some changes done, your tenancy agreement says none, which is backed by the council. The council also ignore the government's Housing Act. They ignore health and safety. They are lifelong. If they do a bad job, what happens? Nothing. It's a you problem. It's where you come from in it. Can't hold them responsible. They never get voted out. And they stay in the whole time. Do they ever come to you and say, what sort of lights would you like at Christmas, nation? No, they don't do this. Are they building libraries and all the pointless bullshit and town councils out of your tax money? Are they giving your tax money to train companies, to bus companies? These companies have profit pots in the millions. And yet your taxes are going to do the work on the bridges. And we don't even own it. How much of that money is coming out of the taxpayer, and how much of it is coming out of that company? I want to sit here catering for all the rich people that have it easy as it is. Because let's do the math real quick, shall we? And then there's the fines in magistrates' courts, right? So £100. I know you can't see it. I got another light on there. Is there any chance you could flick that on? So if you've got £100, 100 quid that you've been charged by a police officer, if you're a millionaire, what's £100? Not really much, is it? What happens if you're someone that's on low income, or if not, nigh on income? Well, it might lower it down to about 80 quid. You just look at your own lives, you've been through this. How is that fair? And then the others might say, well, we lowered it down. Yes, but you're earning more. Do you think if we were all paying into this? And another thing I've noticed as well with businesses and corporations, the amount they whinge about people who are not homed. The disgust, and some of these people, they rent houses, but they won't rent houses to that person there, because in their opinion, their words, that person stinks. And you've got these corporations that go around. Do they offer that person a job? Do they allow them to pull themselves? Do they give them a chance? Do any of these corporations in any of the towns give these people a chance to get on their feet again? No, they don't. No, they don't. But does your government give them a chance? Your central government? Yeah, they do. They give them a benefit, and they'll try and help utilising through the council by writing laws. Where is the council in that? Where's the council going out finding homeless people and saying, come on? No, do you know this is a weird thing? You have to grovel to the council. They've got all of this help and support for people. So if you move house, they'll charge you 2 lots of council tax. I'm going through this. Now, I know that they've got help and support for people who are on low income to make that last charge go away under the circumstances. Do you think they offer that? Do you think they come out and actually offer that to you? Or to anyone that's struggling? No, they'll leave you struggling. They don't care. They're not going to offer that. Yet they can take money from low-income families, but they can't take it from people who are in the businesses? That's bizarre, isn't it? They can sit there criticising and slagging everybody off who's apparently fallen down on their luck. But you name me one corporation that are getting behind people. You name me one corporation that will go, are you on low income? Yeah, I am. Oh, we'll lower that dentist fee for you. Are you on low income? Go up to a corporation and do they go, yeah, we can see that the cost of living is not great, is it? Do you reckon we could help you out with your shopping a little bit? But no, they don't. None of them do. The government do, though. They'll offer you a universal credit. Is that really the way to be? Yet the only one system that seems to really be trying to do something. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong. It really isn't perfect. But it's a shite sight better than what you've got. To think about it, if you didn't have them at all. And I gotta be fair, but I'm a rough edge as well. So I know that these institutions can also fall down and be susceptible to corruption. It's not perfect. But the people that know how to talk, communicate, and also, Kennedy is right. If we're transparent, we can see where we're getting it wrong. We can hear the information that comes in, and we can evolve. Because that's what evolving is all about, really, isn't it? You name me it with the council. What do they do? You got doctor surgeries that are down on their luck. But no, council's got money for everything else, businesses catering around for them. Anything that's social, anything that is a fucking dentist. Have they got it? No, we ain't got no money. But we got money for a library. Wow. Come on, ask yourself a real question, right? If the library is in a small building somewhere, a church, which that's where it used to be here, it wasn't perfect. But it was working. It was nice. Actually, I preferred that to the one that they've built now. Ask yourself, in a dying breed of libraries, which it is falling down, let's be realistic. It's guaranteed that libraries are not going to be around for much longer. You can guarantee this. But yet, they have the money to build the state-of-the-art library. but not a doctor's surgery. Not to build a doctor's surgery. Which one would you pick? A better doctor's surgery? A better care home? We're all going to probably get old. The statistics are very there, aren't they? We're all aging. We're living longer and longer. We know we're going to be locked up in one of those buildings. That's another thing. Everything that's gone on privatized and been privatized is not working. Affordable housing, they call it, when it's 750 quid. They call it social housing, but it's actually private. And the money is going up and up and up and up and up. What do you think they're doing? How is it that you can have social housing, social, built by government in the beginning, or councils, let's say, built off of council tax? It's been given over to a CEO, and they are doing nothing but up the rent. You know, the council want to know the ins and outs of a duck's arse, do they, when it comes to anything about you? But they didn't want to integrity check and stress test the CEOs. And then we know that when we put CEOs on top of companies, they destroy it. Board members, they destroy it. You don't need board members for social housing. You don't need CEOs. What are they doing? What's different? What's different about the social housing from 50 years ago to 100 years ago to now? The difference is you didn't need a CEO back in the day, but you tell me now, by putting the CEO on, what's it caused? A price rise. You can follow a piece of paper that says this, this and this. AI could do it. That's another thing I want to talk about. You see, here, I think that we need a better government that can actually do things a lot more than what it's capable of doing right now. And I think that the only way to really see what's what is to remove councils. I think they need to go. And then we've got town councils that want to have nice buildings. So we've just now pulled a load of money out of the tax pot. Council tax, and I think it's separate. I honestly do. This whole bullshit that they pay it off to fucking government for then the government to give it back to them. I think it's bullshit. I don't think they're lying. I don't think that's true. What the hell? You pay council tax to the council, and then the council give that tax to the government, and then the government give it back? Nah. And then who's making the decisions on what is built in the town? Not you, the people that pay it. No. It's some fucking board members in the council that are deciding. Businesses are deciding, but not you. Why can't you decide what is being built? Everybody in the community. No, can we? We got a brand new police station here as well. What was wrong with the old one? That's a question that I've got. And how do you know that crimes are going to be getting more and more, that you need a massive investigation unit at Wyndham? Why do you need that? Are police stations across the county in different towns and cities, do they need investigation units? Can they not operate with investigation units? No, we got to centralise the investigation unit. That's ridiculous. What a waste of money. And another thing is about crimes. Why do you think we got a lot of them? What's the difference between then and now? Another thing is with this patterning as well, I mean, and some people will say maybe we need a one world government. I don't think we do. No, I think we need a one world system that all the governments could put into and follow a blueprint that works for everybody. I think that's a good idea. But to say that we need to be led by one world government, if it ever got corrupted, that would be super dangerous, because there wouldn't be anything that we could do about it. I think we need the governments as the way they are, but they need to get together to formulate this centralized version, this centralized panel that states that we are going to protect all ideas of individuals. You know, if you all had your individual, let's say your versions of Facebook. Look, we could use Facebook as the example, right? But anything that you post on there for free is protected by all governments joining the central column, where they say, this person made this idea. It doesn't mean that it can't be shared around. That's not it. But it means that, look, someone with money, okay? Someone with 100 million, a million in their bank account, come across your Facebook page, you the pauper, barely afford to put your heating on. and you create a really good idea and stick it up on your Facebook account, someone with a load of money can come and take that and patent it in every nation, and they don't ever mention you as the person that created it. See, that's another thing with money, and everyone sits there and tells me that the people with money are constantly saying, you have no idea my stresses, don't look very stressful from where I'm at. But, load me up with a load of cash and then, I'll have better insight, won't I? I'll understand it from your position. But the chances of the masses ever reaching that position, it's very slim, isn't it? And therefore, what you don't experience, do you truly know? You can understand it, but do you truly know it? But the way I see it, if I had a load of money, I can park over any parking double yellow lines I wanted. What's a £30 fine? What's a £60 fine? I pay it straight away because I've got millions. What's a speeding ticket? Well, I just pay the money, don't I? What about if I pay you double? What's that? I'll pay you double for the speeding ticket, but I don't get any points. And again, this whole thing that goes through a magistrates, I've been present in a magistrates where some matey has got a quadruple amount of points on their license. I mean, we're 12 past 12 penalty points. We're beyond that. And he pays more, and he gets to keep his license. Why is he not learning anything? Because he can speed and just pay for it? You would think that would make you very angry that some matey is doing 60 in a 30 and just has to pay for it, keeps the license. That's a magistrate, and I know magistrates are corrupt. If you want to prove your innocence, don't ever see your son again. I mean, what type of fucking system is this? Again, it's owned by council, and here again, it helps with the council tax as well, doesn't it? If you don't pay it, they'll come take your stuff. Again, but if I was absolutely loaded with money, and each one of my items in my house was so expensive, what happens to the council then? Are they going to send bailiffs, are they? Going to come into a rich person's house and what? Just take one item? One item, they'll sell that and get the money for the council tax, as opposed to someone that has very little and a lot of little that's not very valuable. That's a whole house worth of stuff gone. What type of caring and leniency is that? What about people who are on small money and it's going to take them over 1,000 years to pay back anything? 1,000 years, when they're dead, it gets wiped. But yet we'll put all that stress on people. What is the point in that? Do tell me. And then what about corporations that are taking electricity and gas from you? Do they really care if you have kids or not? Do they help out with a benefit system? Because I tell you what, let's say we lose central government, we lose it, and it's corporation world. Do you not see that Charles Dickens is plain in sight? It's bang on in front of you. You'll have people on the streets, and all they will do is you'll be their gossip. They won't help you because, oh, you stink. Oh, you haven't got a house. Oh my days, dirty. Can you believe that I've been bear witness to seeing this on other people? I've been there myself, and people tell you to get a job, but you can't get a job. And then let's look at the job system for a second, right? Application form. What happens if I pick Jewish religion and it's a Christian mentality in the shop? Let's just say, for argument's sake. Nope. What happens if I put, I'm an Englishman, but they're looking not for English people? Nah. You don't think that you can be discriminated using an application form? Let's take an example in shops, shall we? How many times are you standing in a convenience store, quick, easy, and they make you wait near the till before they age verify you? How many times are you nowadays happening to chase staff members around and ask them for a quick, because it's convenient, like you've got time to wait? And then the person's just really, oh God. And then you go and apply for an application at that shop and they say that you fail because you didn't answer the questions correctly. Because that's not what they're looking for. When you know in your heart of hearts you would never do that. What about if my age isn't I'm not the right age? Application form, how old are you? What nationality are you? What's your background? What's your gender? What's your religion? What's your race? Where have you lived? How many jobs have you had?
All those questions were not recommended or allowed in Europe.
Nah, this should be illegal, all of it. You don't need to give an application form about who you are and where you've come from. That's not looking at whether you can do the job or not. That's looking at you, profiling you. What if they just don't like you? What if they don't like the way you look? Don't you think that our DWP should take that? And then if you want to give a job in this country by law, you send it to the job centre. The job centre will find you a person. Regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of gender, sexual preference, regardless of what colour your frickin' hair is. They will, okay, right, you want a person to work a till? Okay then. Dig into the people that are on the job list. Okay, you go to this place here. Okay, someone will be there Monday. If not, this is slow espionage, which then is slowly trying to collapse our benefit system because it's now overrun. And then what about these companies that are putting anything in your food? Anything. Chemicals, you name it. Oh, sweet stuff is what destroys your teeth, said the same companies that make every toothpaste brand out there sweet. Every mouthwash is sweet. Please. That's like cops. And in all these dentists, we recommend this toothpaste. That's like coppers giving you a bulletin of this is how you make us obsolete. Honestly. And before the doctors are even collapsed and go over to privatization, have you not noticed how many illnesses are rising up all of a sudden? Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? What, so that you can be another prophet? So their agenda is to buy all of these social structures, call them social structures, at the same time they are heightening the price, and then go, see, you know what you can blame? Look, it's social. And then you hate social, but you're not seeing it correctly because you're not living in true socialism. And yeah, sure, imperialistic socialism, sure, that works. I'm sure that works. Then you've got people with money that as soon as you put something online, it doesn't belong to you, they patent it. Can they make money off of it? And then they have the audacity to tell you that you stole the idea from them because they created it and patented it. What a load of crap. And this is a nation of laws and order. .gov, you can do a lot better than this. You see, me personally, I'd be clamping down on this, but it's going to take the leaders around the world to also clamp down on it. And then it separates the authentic ones to the ones that ain't. You know, you lead by example. And then someone might say that that's espionage. Well, unfortunately, if you've got a rich elite person in another nation that is deciding not to do this, I do see your true colours shining through. Why is it that people with money can take money, opportunity away from people who don't have it? And the only thing that sets them apart is if these people had the money to patent their own idea. Ooh, they would go far in life, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they? And they either got an opportunity to allow you to have the idea and put a bit of kipper in their pocket, as well as put a bit of kipper in your pocket, and then put a bit of kipper in all the workers' pocket. What's wrong with that? Which then lowers the money from the benefit system. You ever wonder why it's growing? Well, application form, no opportunity. If we all created our own versions of Facebook around the world, technically, and all of these align to a governance system, where all governments are like, yeah, you know what, we will do that. Why? Because it looks great in front of the people, doesn't it? To actually protect them, protect their ideas, protect their quantum, protect their futures, and protect yourself while doing it. Why? Because they could be your next pioneers. You see, this is where it starts to fall down. The monopoly system is no longer working. Why? Because money, small businesses spend money. That's a fact. Not all of them, but most of them, I must admit, they do spend money. If you're going to save money, you got to understand it, right? If we go over to credit system, we lose. Why do we lose? Well, that would be a disadvantage to people. It really would. You got to understand it. Let's play a game of Monopoly, shall we? Let's say we've got 8 pieces. 8 pieces in the Monopoly board. That bank, well, how do you win or lose in a game of Monopoly? Someone has more money than the bank and then all the other players. Does that game become boring after that? Doesn't it teach you that you don't have any opportunity to even win that game? The bank goes bankrupt and all the players go bankrupt, and the last person standing with all the money knows that if you're wise enough, you could give loans to people, couldn't you? You could give out money. You see, add more players to the Monopoly game. Go and find a spoon and a fork and add that to it. And then notice how the bank struggles to resonate. It actually works really well if people are spending this money. But again, that poses a problem as well, doesn't it? Because the person with the most amount of money can then start cashing in off of quantum ideas. And they don't want to buy these ideas and patent them because they want them in society. No, they buy these ideas and patent them to stop anybody else from building them so that they stay with their empires of cash. Get just enough in the system to keep it circulating. People who are on low incomes actually do more public service than people who hoard large amounts of money. Let me give you an example. So people on lower amounts of money that pay and then they're at 0 by the end of the month. These people are moving the money. Without these people, this system would have crashed a long time ago. Can you imagine that? And then you're paying this money that seems to be coming from nowhere. That's why it doesn't work. Trade works. What happens if we go back to hunter-gatherer times? Sociology, once again, the environment, life affects you. Everybody's doing their own little job, making whatever it may be for other people. Let's say a certain person is able to grow 1,000 potatoes. Someone else is able to grow 1,000 carrots. And you exchange, you swap. 1, it gives you a purpose. 2, it gives you something to do. And 3, it gives you opportunity for a lot of stuff. The more you grow, the more you trade. The more you trade, the more you get. But a lot in the hunter-gatherers, it wasn't all done with trade. It really wasn't. They used to give. They used to come together and understand, if I got a few potatoes and you've got a few of these, we could feed a lot of people. If we feed all of you, would you be able to, we'll give you some metal work if you want. If we give you a better pan, would you be able to cook more? Yes, we would. Oh, well, we can make that, give you this, in order for you to give us some food, and then we can give you a few extra bits on the top of that if you need. They used to work together in this way. It wasn't really called trade back then. It was called living. And then this left people with full bellies and a lot of time to explore, experiment, play around with stuff. That's why people had enough time to make sewing needles out of bone. Can you believe that? Could you even sit there and look at a piece of bone, leftover piece because it's recycling, no food was wasted, no need for chemicals. And with the end of those leftovers, this is how great they were at utilizing all of the food and not overindulging. They looked at the bones and then thought, what could we do with these? In today's standards, they used to make headwear with it. The smaller parts of the antlers on deer. Deer was very common. They used to use this to tie things to so that they could carry things. That's interesting, isn't it? So when they went out and did some hunting, When they got their kills, they hung them up on the headrest. They understood, the first thing they understood, if they were making needles from it, you understand that they knew how to make the yarn that goes for it. So they knew how to make stinging nettles and wrap these around and plait it. Well, when you plait things like this, you can also make bits of string, which is called cordage. You know that you can put this on an animal. The ones, yeah, I know it sounds brutal, but that's how the past was. And then they've used the cranium off of an old deer. And that they can put some holes in this cranium. And then they can put some cordage around it and hold it on their head. And then when they've got a kill, they hook it on the small stump of the antler. They've used the rest of the antler, but it's got a little stump on it that they put some cordage over, and then they hold a piece of food. They used to be able to carry things, a lot of things. They also made this on backs as well. Backpacks, but mainly on the head. And they used to tie things to them, to themselves, in order to carry things to keep their hands free. They had to keep their hands free because of predators. Interesting, really, isn't it? They had to keep it because of the hunt. Perhaps they had to throw things to catch more. The more they caught, they needed their hands free. Ain't no good capturing an animal. And they never used to drag the whole carcass back, by the way. It was too heavy. So they used to break it down. And what's quite, in today's world, if you're vegan, a trigger alert. But it's just the way where we come from. The first meal that they got off of the animal that they got, if it was a big animal, was the liver. They'd quickly make a quick fire and then eat the liver. All of them would share the liver. And then they'd have enough energy to then cut down the animal in bit by bit. So one's holding a leg, someone else is holding a leg on their headrest. You think that they were carrying that or dragging it back? Depends how far they walked. Nomads walk very far. Some people stay at camp collecting water, and they're going to meet back at a certain area at a certain time. They couldn't all do it together, not all the time, but they used to switch. A certain family would go off and do the hunt in a particular day. The other family that they grouped with would go off and collect water. The other family would go off and collect wood. And they'd swap. They'd always have something to do. In order to do this, in order to carry back big carcasses, depending on how far they had walked, animals are very good at sense of smell. They would have sniffed them out before they came, so they had to travel further away. You bring down something that's a big kill that you've got to feed a lot of people. It only makes sense to make it easy to carry. What you don't need, you don't need. What you do, you do. And you carry it in certain ways. To carry a whole carcass is too heavy. If you break it down, each one shares the load. And they've had a good little bit of the liver. And they also take back the liver as well, because they overcook it and make jerky so that the rest could have it as well. They were selfless, not selfish. They cared about one another. At the moment, we've moved into an era where someone's bad day is somebody else's gossip. Thinking that we're so immune that we will never fall down like that. And then when it happens, then you get some insight. You don't need to be in that position in order to get the insight. You can just think for and about other people. You see? But there it is. Where you're a person that might not have a lot of money, what can you physically do about it? Not a lot. You can comfort, you can give food. What could you really do about it? Well, you could offer someone in your house, but it's a stranger and highly not recommended. In today's world, where sociology makes people snap, lots of people push. Whilst we swan around not really giving a shite. And then, who picks why everything needs to increase in price? Why does it need to? Why does everything need to go up? When this keeps on increasing, could you imagine if all of the governments around the world got together and said, right, here's a baseline, it's not going above this shit here. We're going to do everything we can to make it never get any higher than this. If it gets higher and higher and higher, but there you have it, it's unfair, isn't it? It's like walking into a shop. And what, do you think that people that are richer should be allowed to spend less in the shop? The shopping should be cheaper for people who are richer, and it should be more expensive for the people who are on lower income? Is that why prices need to go up? But the people that suffer in that are usually the masses that are on middle income, low income, and let's say they're, for no fault of their own, They may have a issue due to the pressures of society that might cause mental, or it could cause physical issues to the body. Too many conditions that just not enough money to sort it out. Too much of this, too much tooth decay. I think people will snap about that as well. Not enough for this, not enough for that. Then what? We're going to add in on top of that if we privatize the health system, what are we going to see? More suffering. More people are going to get triggered up. And you'll tell me that sociology isn't a thing, it's psychology, it's where you come from in it. Perhaps if we brought some of these big money individuals down to the same level, you'll notice how it's a very different scenario, isn't it? Cool, they'll be the first to whinge. How do you do this? How the fuck do you live like this? We've had no choice. That's it, because you made it this way. You made it so we had no choice. If you've taken all of the money and holding on to it and hogging it and just letting a little bit out every now and then, right? Just to keep it flowing over for yourselves. It's terrible. So no, I think before it goes past a point of no return, and unfortunately I think the councils, I think your purpose is done. I think you've had enough opportunity to show yourselves for what you truly are. I've met you, and you at Saffron, you at the council here. I'm not speaking about every council, but birds of a feather usually. If you're acting the same way, if you are all acting the same way, then I'm pretty sure the outcome is going to be the same. Ridiculous amounts of rent. Maybe some other councils have kept hold of these houses, I don't know. But then where's that money going? Is it going back into a better service? Have you got people saying what they want? Are you listening to the children in the community about what they want? Probably not, because there's no money for it though, is there? But there's no money for a library though, isn't there? Last time I checked, most people, it's just not here anymore. When do they ever have the time to go into a fucking library? Jesus, man, Jesus. People are either too burnt out from working in companies that can't be asked to even give a decent wage to people, and that's another thing that really pisses me off. You can sit there with like 50 fucking billion in your back pocket and go bankrupt on it. You can't even up. You're so proud about paying minimum wage. Fucking hell, mate. Minimum wage is not where cost of living is. And now we've got a crisis. And who created this crisis, I wonder? You know what, we should keep going like this and pretending that everything's alright because people want to manipulate us using psychology to try and tell us that everything's okay. Nah. Because the sociology around is arguing the toss with the psychology, and then we have to manipulate ourselves. What, take some tablets? Are these tablets being created by other big businesses? Is it? Companies are making tablets and making a lot of money off of this misery that you've created in the first place. Man, that is... Let's overwhelm the NHS, shall we? And then food and everything else? So no. There's the whinging side of it. So no, inherently, honestly, yes, there's a lot of issues with government that if you don't wake up to this, where do you see yourselves in the future? Because I calculate in a very different way. No matter how many times I run these scenarios, you are all obsolete. By a thread you are doing on the best you can, but you are hanging by a thread. House of Lords, what are you? Are you about everyday people? No, because you believe in a man's world. Most councils, man's world. Most of these CEOs, mainly men. That's interesting, really. There should be more, statistically, more females. Most men have gone into battles. There should be more females, but yet we've got more men in every part of society. Interesting, that, isn't it? And then we go to school, and let's have another look at the... Oh, sorry, you're underqualified. What, you mean to tell me that a company won't subsidy into their profit pot to train people, whether man, woman, or whoever, to teach them how to take a better role? Weird, that, isn't it? No, it's all right, we'll leave it up to the government, shall we? That's all right, won't it? That would be good, wouldn't it? And then you are overburdening our prisons, and you know you are. Funny fact, this. How can people get out of prison on good behaviour? I generally believe they've done good. I think they've been good. Why? Because the sociology has changed, their environment has changed, which has then remapped their psychology naturally. No tablets, not really. They've got a lot of things that are easier to access. They're distracted. I think people are generally happy when they're in that situation, and then they leave prison. And counsel, perhaps you should never have stuck someone that's easily led inside a building because you wanted me to become on, what was it? I think that, someone that's easily led and you've got all of these reports and then you stick me into some place where there's a lot of drugs because, easily led, then maybe he's going to be peer pressured into taking some drugs, especially with his background. I mean, that's weird, right? But I also learnt a lot from individuals without judging them. And no, they never forced me to do anything. And no, I wouldn't. And I've got massive amounts of respect for people like that because I understand that it can only be too easy. And when I'm walking around people that are looking at their only way out is this, prison, this, and this, and I know how easy it can be to slip down that slippery slope and then have a lot of people that are supposed to know better and are supposed to be there to help people while taking the money from the very people that they're supposed to help. And they don't offer it. In fact, they're aggravating. They want to cause reactions from you. And then Saffron Housing, I mean, that's a hell of a return for the taxpayer that built all those houses for you. And then you want to come into their life and start pushing them to get a reaction so then you can go, oh, see, this person's unstable. See, this person just hit me. Because you're push. And then you're looking at me like, why is this person not reacting? Why is he not breaking? Why is he not snapping? And then this gives me massive insight. 1, you want people to snap. So 2, you are creating people to snap by messing with their environment to get them to snap. That's fucking brutal, that is. That's eye-opening. And it is really difficult for people to go through that. Trust me, I get it. I can see how easy sometimes that it catches you off guard. That you might do something. That you can get in that moment and really have people that are in your face. It's the type of people that will steal from you and then help you look for it. That manipulate you, that lie to you, that tell you that they're there for you, and then they plaster all the way across their websites that they invest in people. We understand mental health. We understand this. Yeah, you understand it to create it. Only on certain people, I'm sure, not everybody, because you got to keep up appearances with some people. Some people you'll stroke, right? But the people that you don't like and might actually see you for what you are, those ones, fire the cannons. And bit by bit, it's overrunning the prisons. Bit by bit, it's draining taxpayers. Bit by bit, it's overburdening the NHS. And bit by bit, this is then putting pressure on the central government, isn't it? Yes, and then you're in your papers as well, aren't you? And then you're stealing opportunities from people. What the hell type of system is this? Whilst you sit there getting pally with all the businesses, what type of lights would you like this year? And you can imagine that. Those lights are very nice, aren't they? I'm going to get some of them in my house as well. Birds of a feather like flocking together, innit? I'm going to put some of them in my house as well. It's funny, you lot are predictable and you stand out so easily in societies, in all the towns, because you all get the same lights in your own homes. With the same ones from the council. How the hell did you predict that? Can I have some of your crystal? From your crystal ball? Just give me a little piece, I'll be able to then predict, won't I? And then slowly but surely, this is espionage, is it not? It is, and then you've bought out the courts, you've bought out the cops. Isn't it a civil matter if someone takes something from a shop? Is that not a civil matter? How does that fall into a criminal matter? Because the last time I checked, isn't it council tax that pays for the police? Yeah? You know when you send that poxy bar chart that you send to everyone? The very people that you take the tax off of, That's weird. But the cops turn up as soon as the alarm goes off. Go get your own security. Go dig it out of your pocket. Or maybe we should make a comprehensive tax system, really, shouldn't we? Yeah, and we should really pay it to central government then, shouldn't we? And Norfolk County Council? Where do you stand in all of this? What was it? I break, and then what? You take my kid away from me without doing any investigation, and then what? The police are there? What? Shove me into a magistrate's court? Gotta prove your innocence? What a load of tosh, mate. Corruption with a capital C. Dangerous. Dangerous. This is very dangerous. Well, I suppose it keeps you in a job, doesn't it? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? More criminals, more jobs. Maybe you should get on adverts saying, here's a police handbook. This is how you make our job obsolete. A bit like some of those dentist companies, you know. I'm a qualified dentist that recommend this toothpaste. Sure. You've made a sweet toothpaste that apparently is great at cavity protection. It's great at all of this stuff. It will allow you to eat sugary foods, and our magic serum will get rid of all of those cavities. What a load of bullshit. It's just for flavour. Come on, let's repeat after me. It's just for flavour. It's sugar that's doing it. Well, I must have a problem with bone density as well then, right? Because the last time I checked, everything we eat turns into sugar, does it not? Most things we eat, doesn't our body convert this into sugar? But yet sugar is what destroys bones, especially teeth bones. But sugar doesn't destroy bones in a body surrounded by sweetened blood, which is creating energy. Oh, yeah, don't fuck that up in a hurry, does it? Yeah, so again, bullshit. No, it's because of all your E numbers and your chemicals and all of those fucking weird. I need a degree in bullshittery in order to be able to read half of those ingredients. When's that going to be outlawed then? So no, I think that a better comprehensive government, one that I've been thinking about, what would I do? What would I do with this situation? How could I help any other government walk into success? I think space is your last place. A social media that you are in control of, that you wrap a load of laws around it. You're free to talk about things, but you're not free to attack people. I think that's great freedom, isn't it? We can have constructive conversations about things as long as it doesn't turn into hatred, as long as it doesn't turn into being beyond what we would call expected, as long as we're not targeting people, but we're having constructive conversations about things in order to find ourselves and where we're heading. You're not religious enough to talk about religion. Wait, what? I think that we should be allowed to talk about religion as long as it isn't putting anyone down in particular. How can you be told off for putting down a book? After you've read the book, right? You've read a book and you put it down. You're not allowed to criticize that writer, that author, that story? No? So why don't we start making laws around books that any type of book that you bring out, you're not allowed to criticize it? Weird. One rule for one rule for another. No, I think we should have constructive conversations about books, stories, where we come from, where religions come from, because they didn't formulate here. They formulated from the minds of hunter-gatherers. And they did not create that by sitting back and going, oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that. No, they created it via talking about it. Many different varieties of it. In fact, we would see more varieties evolve from this. You mean to tell me that we're not allowed to talk about that? We can't talk about fairness? We might as well start censoring everything then. Maybe none of us should say anything then. Or we're going to start protecting corporations soon because, you know, they just do not like to hear this stuff. Shit me. Are we sure? No, if we had a social media here, or we empower Facebook to protect all ideas that are on it. YouTube, to protect all ideas that resonate from it. And protect it means that the person that sparked that is credited for it. It come from here. What was so wrong with that? Does that mean that no one else around the world is allowed to have a piece of it? No, that's where it gets silly. That's where it causes arguments, and you can go to war for shit like this, right? No, it just means that the birthplace, the birth of that idea is protected. And the birth of that idea is credited. And then the person that creates that has an opportunity. One, do you want us to help you? Look, we know that we got a few workers here that would be interested to get around you and help you create this so that we all create it together. And then we could create a more comprehensive business policy, which is, what happens if we share that money? What happens if we all share that wage that comes there? We're all going to spend it, aren't we? And if we all spend it, that's more opportunity to other people, right? What are we going to hold on to it for? We're going to take it with us when we're dead. So what did you do with your life then? Well, God, let me tell you something here. I made loads of money. Oh, you did? Where is it? Well, I couldn't take it with me. What ideas you got then? Well, see, here's the thing, God. I spent most of my life stealing ideas off of people, you know? What? I sat there patenting other people's products. What was that reason for? Whoa, to get more money, I see, yeah. Alright, I'm following. You gotta ask yourself the question, in retrospect, if that was you, what would you do with that information? I mean, but yeah, if we had some platform where every government around the world was like, yeah, we'll protect it. Yeah, we'll protect it. Yeah, we'll protect it. And then another nation reaches out and they're like, you know, this sort of idea here, we kind of like that. Can we? Yeah, okay then. And then what? We've got one in, let's say, France. Someone in France wants to build the same business that was created in Britain, right? Someone fought it up in Britain, let's say, for argument's sake. And France are like, we actually kind of like that a lot. And we've got a few people that are really interested in doing what you are doing, but we just want a bit more freedom to evolve that idea a bit more. Now, what's the harm in saying, yeah, okay then? And then what started as an initial idea, all the people that came together put their input into it, which helped evolve it further. And then France is like, well, here it come from here, but we evolved it to this, this, and this. And then France put that bit up, which then evolved it back to Britain again. And then they're like, fucking hell, France, jeez, we never thought of doing that. Is it all right if we, yeah. And then we evolve it, but we coin it that those people that thought it up in France, their names and everything else, it's known here too. The initial seed was done by this person, but it took all of these people that started to build this, share the wealth. And then people in France were like, this person here seeded another concept on top of it, and then they're known. And all the people that helped to build around that idea. And then they've passed that back over to Britain. Britain then take that and evolve it a little bit further. And then France are like, oh, you've just upped the ante on that. That's awesome. Can we? And then we're like, yeah, of course. And then we get to build it. And then we get to pass it down or pass it on. That's going to stay when we are all gone. Oh, hey God, yeah, what did you do then? Well, actually, I can see what you've done. My word. You work together. Yeah. You helped many people lift in the process. Yep. It went on to support other people that live around you in 2 continents. Yes. And then 3 continents. And then let's say if Russia gets hold of the idea, we're like, that's actually pretty good. Can we? Of course, yes. Because if we started a process like this, where everyone's getting around the same system, around the same table, then there's purpose for everybody in that. All of us, every single one of us. Now, if these ideas start blossoming into space, and we grab some resources, and they're like, can we have some of that? Yeah, okay, we'll share it. We'll share it with everybody that's on the panel. What works with that? Well, then we'll say, none of us are really getting much of this, actually. It turned out to only be a few grams. Oh, well, we'll just wait until next year when it comes back again. Or we can all get together and then say, how can we scale this up? All of us scale this up? And then before you know it, what you were getting on your own, which you could never possibly do, maybe you're getting a few grams here and there. But a few grams from France, plus a few grams Russia, America, China, India, there. And all of EU, Australia, Ireland, Northern Ireland. If we're all doing this, those few grams start turning into metric tons. Then what can we do? Well, now we're seeding more ideas and more opportunities for more people in that. And it comes from safeguarding what people create. Now, let's say if somebody else was in that they got this idea, it's protected. They know that they're the starting point. They're most certainly not the most important, because it's about everybody that's in it. Not one person, but all people that are in it, in the process. And perhaps they don't want to build on that idea. But yet, on one of the conditions of joining this, that, would you be interested in giving that out? Yeah, sure, yeah. We'll support you if you got any more. Yeah, I got some more. I can go away and think about it if you want. And then some other people are doing this as well. And then we get around this quantum process. And some people are more physical. It doesn't mean that the people who are more physical and they're like, shit, I don't know how to do quantum. That's cool. You know how to do physical. Do you like doing physical? Yeah, I love it. Perfect. You don't need to do the quantum. Why not? Because these people can do it. And they're more than happy to give you that. Oh, all right then. Well, I'm good with the physical. Once I've made the physical from their quantum, yeah, I'll give you this if you want. And then you're both coming together, and then we start platting. A bit like the plats that the hunter-gatherers used to do, which was then led on to clothing today. That's interesting. And rope. And not just rope, cranes. All sorts, pulleys, levers. This led on to stuff. And what's more, it also helped engineering for metal. They were sitting there doing that with bone. Okay, no. Now we're doing it with metal. They were carving in dirt and in sand to start with, mapping out the stars, then ice. Then it's going to lead to stone. Then stone leads to pen and paper, revolutionary. Then that leads to LCD screens. They were holding the memory in their minds. This was not good enough. They had to write it in data, making sense of scribble. This still got lost quite a lot of the time. And then it's been held in memory in it. That's interesting. Where's this leading? Well, this is leading to cloning and other things in space, and makes things easier. There's literally a place for everybody, and everything that's coming in is got a place. It might not seem placeable now, but the future will thank you for it. Like, we should really have a moment to think about all of the humans that have ever lived, ever, from wherever they started. Because remember, the hunter-gatherers planted those seeds. We are harvesting what they planted. Each and every single civilization that has ever come, we are harvesting it. We just don't realize it. And we should take a moment to that, because they're never credited. That's the thing, they're never credited. Isn't that a sad thing? They're not truly credited, they're unknown at the moment. When time goes on, they'll fill in those blanks. But wouldn't it be nice though? You can be credited now, and then in history, it's not about the credit really, but it's about understanding that that's the best education. One that you can see and understand and get and be like, so everything I do now, yeah, everything you do now, go on. I may be propping up the future. Yeah. Yes, you will be. Then if you've got this place, then if you've got this protection, then if we've got this social system that every time you pay your rent, every time you pay your energy bill, every time you get on a bus, every time you get on a train, every time you do something that you pay into, it puts into this pot that then opens up these opportunities for people, then starts building space. Every time you send a rocket up, you are investing into a future for everybody, for every structure. And then after that, what happens if we have a world project? You know, one that's too big for one single nation to do on its own. Think about that for a second. And then you've got this multiple panel. And then what? We're all able to put as much money into that project as we possibly can to then start getting something. What happens then if we then, I understand it, farmers, I get it, work hard and all the rest of it. But if you start growing food in space, on the moon, turn it into a freaking greenhouse, why fucking not? And then that food starts coming in. That's for all nations. Any of them that join this panel. What's wrong with that? And then that food gets divided up. And eventually, good food is coming in. You know, we may not be able to make the corporations change their ways, but we're not going to sweat it because we're going to change rather than change them through their psychology, because I mean, it's going to be like showering at a wall. I don't think there's any medication to help that. We change our circumstances. We stop leaving it to other people that apparently know what's best for us. No, you don't. I think you don't. I really do. I think that we start taking charge is what we should be doing. We could give them electric buses, or we can create electric buses that are cheaper, and then it starts, every time you get on this bus, you're paying in the tax pot. Fucking right, mate. I'm on that bus. It's cheaper, it's better for the environment. Yeah, I love it. And what's more, it pays into the pot. I'm doing my bit. I think that's good. And then when we've got more opportunities for jobs, especially that, that's wonderful. What would you want to do? Go to work here, go there, or have a little bit of a holiday up there? A working holiday. I think that's beautiful. I really do. I think that that's something that, one, it's taking care of two things. What are you going to do with your time off? Well, it's like a fucking holiday up there. I'll fucking sun it up. Whatever it may be. I think that's a good process. And I mean, we got libraries. I think they're prehistoric these days, I think. I just really do. I think they're prehistoric. And again, with this rush, and then you're burnt out. When do you ever get time to go in there and sit down, chill out? You barely squeeze in going to church on a Sunday these days, don't you? Oh, I don't know, I've got to work tomorrow. Oh, so I'm a bit, I don't know. I need to recuperate from my long week to prepare myself for another long week and then get barely fuck all from it. And then this system changes into one that allows money to move, and then we've got currency. Yeah, we got Iron Fist, don't get me wrong. You can't change some laws, right? It's just ridiculous to change some laws. It just makes no sense to do it. That's the Iron Fist part of it. I think we've got to be aware of that, and I think we need to incorporate both of these. Socialistic, nice. Opportunity to make a business, yes. But we need to learn from the past. This way ain't working. I think Charles Dickens needs more credit than anything. I think he was revolutionary. I think he was futuristic. He understood something. A warning in plain sight, I think, personally. And then we got to have a robust system that's actually holding each other to reach that bar. Because when we don't have focus, we might get a bit sloppy. So we could say, well, kings run things better. Well, governments run things better. Well, communism runs things better. Well, the Democrats run things better. I think we've all got a place. I think it's just that we've lost our purpose. We've become a little bit lost along the way. And I think we fuck around to sort of like not say things as they are because, you know, we worry about offending people, and sometimes, I don't know. I've been pressed most of my life. I really have. I think we all have, in our own way. to be able to be pressed like that and still try and remain as resolute as possible. Not perfect, definitely not perfect, but I'm kind of on the fence with it, that I see that where maybe I'm strong in that. I don't know, is it, can you teach strength to other people? Why would I want to teach strength to other people when we could just erode away the things that were causing the situation to cause people to react? Why would we want to do that? Yeah, I don't know. And then we look back to when our grandparents were alive and how they had it, you know? Yeah, sure, you could buy a house, but you would have to pay a mortgage. How long would you have to pay that mortgage for? Or could you have a social house that is guaranteed to be yours? You can pass it down to your kids if you want. You just gotta pay a rent. It's not extortionate. We can't take these objects with us when we're gone. Better care homes, I think, are needed. I really do. And a little, you know, to be able to make farming easier. Okay, we know we're going to get old. I know this. I can look at this in myself and think, shit, I'm going to get old. What do I like doing? Well, you should do all the things that you are able to do while you're able to do them, because when it's at the end of it, you'll be sat inside a freaking home somewhere, not let out, no freedom, none of this, waiting to die. Staring at that coming closer and closer. Gee me, what a that is freaking bad, man. Gee me. I noticed that a lot of people from that era, I enjoyed being around the elderly generation. I don't know if that's politically correct, and quite frankly I find that that's a weird thing, but you know, that's how I view myself, and that's how my grandfather and folks, that's how they identified themselves as, you know, so I don't need to explain that, but still, they loved doing gardening. So most of these people are no longer with us, so, you know, because they were at the end of their life expectancy, but they loved to do gardening and stuff. They really did. And I would ask them, because, you know, I got on really well with my grandfather, I really did. And then his friends, I'd sort of talk to them as well. And I felt like I fit in. I really did. But I used to ask them questions like, don't you want to you still doing your gardening? Oh, I wish I could do my gardening. You do? Yeah, I'm mentally able. I still feel like I did when I was 18, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's making some sense. But my body just won't allow it. You know, if I go out and start digging and stuff, and then I'm sitting there thinking, and you know, that was some years back, and time's gone on, and now we've got robots. What are these robots doing? Well, let me guess, they're going to be introduced into rich people's houses to make them more easier. Not robotics that are like a robot that will walk around like this. No, I'm not on about that. What about a system that's a bit like an arcade machine that can be taught to people before, you know, if they're going into if they're living in their house or they're going into a residential home or whatever it is, that they can utilize this machine to watch it grow and learn how to make a program. I don't know, learn how to use the program that can make things grow, and they can start growing food. And how would that be good? Well, because if it's owned by the state, which would be the government, and they manage to successfully, which they have done, grow a lot of food, don't you think that they can eat that produce, which then gets the price down for not needing to buy it? And they like doing it? So if I offered some of these people that I was talking to, my grandfather's friends and different things like that, and people that were down the road, complete strangers that were of age, that's what I used to do when I was younger. If I offered them to go and turf their garden for them, their faces lit up. So I would go there and dig it up, get rid of all the weeds for them, and because these were the bits of the job that they found too strenuous. And then somebody else that was particularly down the road, so this is living with the doom and gloom, by the way, of the one particular person, but I found solace in these types of situations, and a lot by going out and doing and experimenting and different things. I loved water. Anyway, so if they had a load of tomato bags, I could barely pick some of these up. But I knew that I could do it if I took my time. I could get these put up in the greenhouse that they needed in the right area. They just tell me where to put it. And basically, I was acting like a robot for them. Technically, what would you want me to do? Oh, I'd love a bit of this. Would you be able to do that? I'm not being too... No, you're not. Just tell me what you want to do. I would set the stage for them or set the scene, and then they get on with it. Or they couldn't pick something up. But they couldn't bend down to sort out it either because it would hurt their back. But I could pick it up and put it onto a table which they could stand up straight or sit down if they wanted to and do what they needed to do. When they were done, they gave me a holler. I come and put it down for them. We don't see any of that in residential homes. And this pisses me off. It really pisses me off. And if I'm a kid that knows how to do that and you're supposed to know better, these corporations, Now, I'm going to have to say that you sitting at the top making loads of kaposhka off of that, and you ain't got a freaking clue. And they would look at me and say that I'm not qualified enough to take on that role. It's judged in actions, and all of those things were missed because I'm not sitting there with a fucking mobile phone filming myself do all of this shit, or an old type camcorder. You know, I was just getting in and doing it. There's a difference, because I wanted to. Because I thought that's what society was about. I honestly did. Yeah, naive little shite I really was, wasn't I? That all of these wonderful things that are around us are here to help us. And then it's like, where is it? And then we can see that we've got town councils being built with the best state-of-the-art stuff, which was very expensive. Shinay, mate, where everybody else gets basic, and yet these places get state-of-the-art and no one's living in those buildings. Now, I don't mind that the staff members get decent buildings. I do believe in that. But what about people in these places? Can they have it too? Is it possible to build a doctor's surgery while you are being patient and have to wait a long time? Wouldn't it make more sense to incorporate a library into that environment? I mean, you're going to be sitting there anyway doing what? Reading a magazine? Oh, I used to be told off so much for reading magazines, but if I go into a waiting room, I get magazines to read from. Ooh, is there not enough books in the libraries to go in dentists and doctors and stuff like this? Or that massive building, could that not open up another doctor's surgery, could it not? Well, I don't know. Still, you need to, But there again, mixing sick people and people who are not sick, maybe in flu season, wouldn't be a very good idea. Perhaps. But even still, why do we always do it one-sided, but we can never do it the other side? Because I think you want it to run down. You want the doctors to look bad, so then people are like, oh, look at this place. Oh, I don't know if I want that. And then people criticize it, and then you go, okay, I guess we'll just get rid of it then. Blimey, it's ridiculous. It's really terrible, that is. Oh, and then I honestly thought that governments were there to help people. Aren't they supposed to be? And I think they do. They could. But it's that thing called money, though, isn't it? And again, we ain't immune to it, that if something else is holding on to the money, then where is it here? Because if you've got it all, why's this got little? You're one person thinking of wonderful me and just me and my family, and that's it. But yet this group is thinking of everyone and they've got less. You're thinking of yourself and you've got more. Fucking hell, this is weird. And it don't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. And then the ones that have worked and paid a tax and paid council tax and are statistically less likely to have ever cashed back off of the tax. They've bought houses and those have been sold or passed down or whatever it may have been. Probably unlikely to have been passed down. They're stuck in an environment where they have to stay. And what have they got? A little bit of telly. And then they're not allowed to sleep, but they're bored shitless. That's not great. And some of them, my grandfather never wanted to retire. And this I heard a lot of other people like him were saying, yeah, me neither. If I could find work, I would. But yeah, that application form comes back in again, doesn't it? Date of birth. 1970, 1980s, no, 1900s or something, I don't know. It's just something like mega old or something, I don't know. And then it's like, nah. Well, if you feel able to and you want to, isn't this better for the system overall? These people love to work, and then they're like, go here. I'm not allowed out. I gotta ask Mummy. CEO Mummy? Where are you, CEO Mummy? Oh yeah, they're never here. Oh, but the CEO, apparently, you have no idea how it is to run a business like this. You have no idea. What, never be in there? You're like a fucking ghost. You must be psychic. Can I borrow some of your crystal ball? Yes, they all love it. Why don't you go there and see if you would like it? Why shouldn't we take those CEOs and board members and stick them all in a room and make sure that they're not allowed out? They have to ask someone who's never there. And you stay in that shit. And you see if you like that. And we'll withdraw all of your stuff from you. Because we'll say that you're not capable to drive and you're not allowed to do this and you can't have that. And one thing that some other people were saying as well in this situation, I'd love a pint. What would you want if you could have something? A pint. I'd love a pint. They grew up on this. No, they weren't all troublemakers no, they weren't. I'd love a pint. Yeah, I suppose you would, wouldn't you? And when you take them out, if you can find the time to do it as a family, because you're so overworked, right? And you honestly believe in your mind that they're being looked after like that, but they're not. You're not allowed no beer. You can't have this. You can't have that. And if they don't want to take something because it's causing indigestion, they're made to take it. Man. That's terrible. That's really bad. That's bad. And it's probably because they've been on such low income most of their lives, building up your empires for you, that they've had a choice to eat not so good food, and it's cost them now. Oh, but it's cheap. It's not going to cost me much money. But is it going to cost you later on in life? Is it going to cost you your health? Oh, I'd love a pint. I really would like a pint. Yeah? Should we go get you a pint? I remember I was taking some stuff to my grandfather, and they told me that I'm not allowed to give him that. And I was like, right, okay, so... Yeah, you're not allowed to bring him that. Okay, so what can I bring him? Just not that. Then you bring him something else. You're not really supposed to be bringing that in here. I took my daughter with me as well, and you should have seen it. I couldn't even get to my grandfather's room. He was split from my nan, by the way. And this was because of health, and this one is more specialist, and this one isn't. And I was just like, they were put together in the end, but I was so angry at that. I was so angry that it not even love. They've been together for so long, and then all of a sudden they're in this sort of situation that's not their own fault, and they're separate. But yet, if you were someone who's got a lot of money, would you ever be separated from your loved ones? No, you wouldn't. Because you'd have the money so that the help would come to you. And you'd make adjustments with everything in your money power. But yet when it's all state and owned by CEOs that apparently know what they're doing, it doesn't matter. To the same people that perhaps built your empire, built your society, built your water companies, built your pipelines. And that's how they're treated at the end of it? No. No, that's not acceptable. That isn't. Really, that isn't. No, so I'd change that. That would be changed. So if they like to do things and they're able to do it, perhaps not all the time, then why can't they have a virtual, realistic farm? Everything that they're doing, and when it starts to grow and it's a bit more summer and they're in the mood to go out there, they can go out and have a look and touch those plants. Oh yeah, these are doing really well. Oh wow. And really get proud of that and feel purpose, rather than sitting there staring and thinking about the end of life and imagining the whole life. So I guess there is room for quantum in this world at the end of your life. You're allowed to think then. That's not it. That's not it. And then if we were to put people from up the top in these places, you'd whinge about it, and you would. And what you would say is, I'm whinging. I'm not even there. I've just watched other people that have been in this. And damn, I can do that for free, and you can't do it even though you're paid handsomely? Bloody hell. Bloody hell. Well, if you think you can do it, why don't you go and do it? Well, I can do it. I can help you find your guiding light to do that. But let me guess, you want to take all the glory for it. That's the thing. And not about loads of people that helped make that possible, the ones that put the seed in and added their bits to it. What about those people too? It should be about everybody that made that happen. Their lumps of scribble go around the outside of it. Their plaque, not South Norfolk Council. Funded by South Norfolk Council. I mean, what? Shit me. We bought this for you. If the Ket's anything to go on about, you're going to take that land back bit by bit by moving people into these areas for all of your little businesses, right? So I really do this differently. I would. Real differently. Then when we've got the resources coming in, you're a bit hands-on. We will make it so that you can do it if you want to do it. And if you want to go to work and give 2 hours somewhere, all right. What's wrong with that? I don't see there anything being wrong. Whoa, they might fall. They might this. They might that. Yeah, okay, said you, the ones that are creating misery across the country by keeping minimum wage below living wage. Fucking hell. That might cause suicide, that could cause health problems, that might cause stress, that could cause cancer, that could cause this. Well, you fucking can do that, but, you know, not if someone's precious. They might fall over or something might happen. They might sue me. Okay, fair enough. They might sue you. Fucking hell. Can't anyone sue you in that position? So yeah, no, I would do it very differently than this. And I don't need to be present there to do it. I can just inspire people to do this. That would be good. But I suppose you don't make CEOs out of that. Shit, mate, shit. But what it does do is it frees a lot of people from that sort of trap that they're in. And you're too busy to know that you're going to maybe end up in a place like that. And I don't know. No thanks. Don't think I want that. I'd rather join a fucking tribe. I would rather go out into a fucking wilderness somewhere and join a tribe for retirement. Fuck this. Than be sentenced to prison. Fuck that. When no one's got any time for you. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. And then it makes loads of money. No, you shouldn't be making money on things like that. Never. That money should be going back into that. And anything left off, and I do mean if anything is left off, then that should go back to the tax pot and go on into society somewhere to go and further this betterment throughout the place, you know?
Yeah.
That I think should be something that we can all agree upon. That if it's then going to go and, make a better education system for our kids. Wonderful. Okay. You know, if there's any profit made on that, then, you know, after everything's all been done and dusted, where could this betterment go next off of this? You know, it's not going to be a large amount. It's not going to fill someone's pocket up. But what it is going to do is those lots of little bits can perhaps go off and make some hologram bloody computer systems. Give kids the ability to think in the quantum realm. Because they're not allowed to daydream, are they? Go off to create frickin' space farms, or what do we here in Britain? We've got territories over in the ice areas, haven't we? Those same farms that were in these people's residential homes, we've also put some on Easter Island. You did. We did. We've got a shipment of food coming right now. No e-numbers, no this, and guess what? It's also cheaper than the supermarkets. And then supermarkets have got a choice. Well, shit, what are we going to do? Well, let's either you stop putting all this shit in the food, which you'll have to do, because if not, people are like, ugh, hell is that? If anything is done by this state or this system here, it want to be the best that there ever is. You know, army, be the best. But it should be residential homes, be the best. Education system, be the best. Rocket technology, the best. Platforms, be the best, right? Shouldn't it all be things that support us all should be the best? Not just one piece of it. It should be all of it. Doctor's surgeries, NHS, is the best. You know, all of this stuff. Sure, you're going to need some medication, and perhaps you might want to keep the paying going for the treatments and whatnot, but at least it's not bullshit treatment. And that money doesn't fill some billionaire's pocket. No. It fills the society pocket, or it fills that world pocket, the world pot, for world projects. That would be interesting. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I do kick the shite out of government on the last one, and I did, and I progressed through it, and then this is a follow-up from that, because I think we all need to be held responsible in that way, sort of like, oi, we know how easy it is that we can get corrupted, right? And we know how easy it is to fall into the greed trap. We know how easy it is to get like that, and if we sort of have this sort of, you grounded me, I appreciate that, let's walk forwards then. Or it's to look at that and think, do I want to be seen like that? Probably not. All right, let's see what we can do. Well, we can do this. We can perhaps do this. You know, we can build a great society for everybody. And then it puts a purpose and a place for all of us in that. It's not top to bottom, but it's everyone's got a place. And then if other nations see it and they're like, you know what, fucking hell, that's pretty fucking good. Have at it. Build it too. Why should we hog it? No, we want to share it. A bit like the piston. Share it. A bit like the railway tracks. We just fucking share it. Because you want it for yourselves. You want it for individually. And you want it for everybody. I think that's where we should be. Yeah. Anyway, gonna leave this one here, because I think I rattled on enough, but yeah, I don't know. It would take a lot of people to build this system, it really would. The changes come very quickly. They start off with a few here and there, and then they get faster and faster and faster, and then you're like, yeah, now we're on it. Now there's more coming in. Well, maybe we could do this. Maybe it doesn't work. Well, let's give it a go anyway and see if it does. First off, we know these things do work. Most of these things do work because they did work. And then what did we see as a result of that? We saw a better society. We did begin to see a very good society, a happy society, a loving society. And why was that a loving society? There was a lot of love here. I don't know, I just think that the councils, I'm not sure all of them. No, not every single person that's working there. No, you've got a better place. Don't feel that you're going to lose anything, but I think it's been corporated. I think it's got too corrupted. Honestly do. I think we've been focusing on psychology way too much, and we've ignored, we've believed this narrative? That it's all a us problem inside here? No, I don't think so. The mind is pretty impressive. I think we're part mind, part reality. 50-50 maybe? Yeah. Anyway, different layers in reality being all of these structures here, and then you've got different layers in the quantum. Fantasy, realistic. What else can you do? Futuristic, space, ground, ocean, ice, heat, desert. You can break these bands down, and then reality follows these bands that you can... And don't sweat it if you can't do it yourself. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. No. I think that if you're better at being a quantum being, you're a bit more hands-on and love to get inside and build this stuff, then that is beautifully and equally as important as individuals that can do quantum stuff, that can think the stuff up. The sorting process, I guess. And I think that when we get that sort of balance right, I think that that's when, and then we look at each other and think, we're both needed. We must plait together, because you've got the quantum and you've got the physical, but then you've got reality, the middle strand, and you plait it. And you plait both of these around until you get a very strong and resilient and nigh on unbreakable. If you pull all these strands on their own, they snap. Pull the middle one, it snaps. Pull the end one, well, it snaps. Well, if you weave all of these together, which is also known as plaiting, if you plait these together, whew, you know how strong that is? And then you plait it again and again, whew, it gets stronger and stronger. And then that becomes the quantum strong, the physical strong, and reality becomes strong. And I think that that's where we need to be. And then our future is dead certain, because it gets strong. The strength of what we are. Yeah, there we are. I'm going to leave it there, because if not, I might get a bit different. And I need to clean that mirror. That is terrible. It doesn't actually look it, but it does on there. Anyway, going to leave it there.